Hello everyone, this is Nimish and today we're going to review the Malayalam movie Guru starring Mohanlal. This movie is fantastic and I'm directly going to jump into the review of this movie. Let's begin with the location. The location, I have no idea how they scouted for it, if it's studio, if it's real, but whatever it is, it's fantastic and I would love to know where this movie was shot because those locations are amazing, specifically when you want to achieve something that it so seeks to achieve. That is, it should be aloof from the world. It's supposed to be like a dream world, like a creation, like a world that doesn't exist, like a weird world where he ends up. And to create that so perfectly and so brilliantly at that time is really credible, and they've done a fantastic job on the locations, the sets, everything that they've created for this movie, for the main majority of the movie, of course, because the starting is a basic introduction and then he goes into that world. So it was outstanding, the locations. The second thing that comes to mind is the cinematography, the DOP, outstanding work, extraordinary effort, especially at that time, because I keep repeating because it's an older movie and you don't expect such sheer brilliance in terms of cinematography at that point in time in India, because we hardly ever focused on such things after the early 1950s and 60s. Everything started getting so commercial, at least in the Hindi film industry, and also many other places. Even today we just focus on making those movies, studios, and not really scouting for beautiful locations. So very few movies that the cinematography and DOP stands out, and it was fantastic. I think one of the most important reasons that this movie was so special is the visual appeal that it has. Fantastic. The costume design was fantastic. They recreated this crazy world that's completely away and completely imaginary in terms of comparison to the real world. So they had to sit and kind of chart up, maybe drawings and fashion designing as to how to get those costumes and to perfectly portray a lost world. I would say a lost world is a good phrase to kind of describe that particular zone that he ended up in. So technically on all fronts this movie was superb, including the storytelling, which is basically the direction. I like to refer to direction as nothing but storytelling. You're basically a director who set out to tell a story, and how effectively you tell that story is what's most important. So the storytelling was fantastic. On a script level, on a story level, this movie is really good. It has a lot of insights, a lot of depth, and it's presented in a unique way. It's not just about someone. I mean, they could have easily made a movie about someone who goes to a poverty-ridden camp or a refugee camp or helps people out there and realizes that life is different and kind of gets the values that he's trying to seek out or he's trying to dawn upon him. But they've created this fantastical world which actually glues you to the screen because it's so unique, the presentation, and that's what's credible about the story writing, that they actually wrote it, and not only wrote it but they actually implemented it, the production houses, because I can imagine at that time it could have been like a hit or miss project, because to create that world, will people believe it or not, etc., etc. So it's a very brave effort, and effort that's appreciated by everyone, which is what's most important. On the acting front, Mohanlal was natural as usual. He always is. He smoothly transitions into whichever character he's playing and just goes and plays the part. One really good scene depicting his kind of contribution to the character and his dedication to the character is when he's walking blind and he trips and falls over a bench. I will never forget that scene, because if you see that scene carefully, he's literally tripping and falling. It's not an acting. He doesn't use too much hand support or leg support. He just goes all out and falls. And it's not easy to even fall, even if it's for the camera, if it's for anything. Falling is never easy because you have to fight your reflexes. Your reflex is to kind of, control yourself from falling. But he just blatantly went like a blind man and fell over the bench so ridiculously, like an actual fall, and by ridiculously good I mean not ridiculously bad. So it was really outstanding, the effort that he's put into this acting. Of course, because I've watched so many movies, the angle about the seed being poisonous and thrown out, all of that was pretty predictable, but that's not the point. That's not even the point that the movie is based on. That's just a part of the story. But I really like those ideas, although they might be predictable to some people. At that time, I'm sure it was not. And it's a great idea. It's a novel idea how they've shown everything. So I really like that angle also. I'm actually curious to know about the tribe that they've shown, the kind of ruling tribe that they've shown. Whenever they spoke, it didn't sound like pure Malayalam, like the Malayalam that I've heard in many movies, or even the Malayalam that Mohanlal speak. It sounded different. Sometimes it even sounded like Kannada for some reason. So I'm wondering what kind of, whether they were using a different dialect or whether it's just me that I thought they were doing something different. But it definitely seemed like, it came across as a different language while hearing it. Because of the overall attempt this movie had, the overall impact it has, the entertainment value it has, and the uniqueness of storytelling, I'm going with 4 stars for this movie. I hope you enjoyed this review. Keep watching for much more. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Take care.